Implantation plus 6 days. Colding couldn't help but wince a little. Sure, it was science, but that didn't change the fact that he was watching Tim Feely slide a tube into a cow's vagina. A harness suspended the cow, keeping her hose just a few inches off the ground. Tim wore long gloves that were smeared with a clumpy, whitish substance that Colding could only think of as cow smegma. "A little deeper," Ruhmkorff said. His voice had a flat tone but dripped with anger and tension. He sat at a portable fiber optic workstation, staring intently at a screen showing a fleshy, pinkish tunnel, the view from deep within the cow's womb. The 3D ultrasound workstation sat close by, pressed up against the door of the stall opposite, cow number 16 stall. Jean half hid behind the machine, trying to stay out of the way. Ruhmkorff had shoved the workstation there in disgust when the high-tech, gold-tinted image showed only one ancestor fetus, where yesterday there had been 2. Then he'd started screaming, apparently, which was when Jean sneaked away and asked Colding to come to the C5. "Deeper," Ruhmkorff said. "Get it in there." "I love it when you talk dirty, Doc," Colding said. Ruhmkorff sighed and shook his head. "This is not the time for your stupid jokes." "Yikes," Colding said. "Just trying to lighten the mood." Trying and failing. Ruhmkorff was mad because the cow had reabsorbed one of the twin fetuses. Reabsorption was when the mother's body made some primitive yet calculated decision to not only abandon the small fetus, but also break it down and reuse the raw materials. The problem was, reabsorption only happened when the fetuses were a few ounces. It did not happen when the fetuses were roughly 20 pounds. "Deeper, goddammit!" Ruhmkorff shouted. "I don't have all day!" His comb-over was starting to fray. In the cow stall, Tim started to sweat. "Doc, come on," Colding said. "Just take it easy." "I don't need your input, Colding. Shut up or I'll kick you out of here. Mr. Feely, you insufferable idiot. Can you do your goddamn job?" Well, that would be just about enough of that. Colding put a hand on Ruhmkorff's shoulder, letting his thumb slide behind the trapezium muscle just to the left of the neck, pointer finger in front just above the collarbone, and he pinched the fingers together. Ruhmkorff stiffened in his chair and then hissed in a short breath. "We're all under a lot of stress here, Doc, wouldn't you say?" "Yes," Ruhmkorff said. "Of course." "Good. And you know how shouting and stress affects Jean, so let's just calm everything down. Tim is doing just fine, don't you think?" Colding relaxed the pinch a little, but kept the muscle firmly between his thumb and finger. "Of course," Ruhmkorff said. Timothy, my apologies." In the stall, Tim nodded absently. His attention remained focused on the fiber optic tube. Colding released the pressure and gave Ruhmkorff's shoulders a quick, friendly rub. "There you go, Doc. All better." Ruhmkorff leaned forward, probably already forgetting Colding's rebuke. On the monitor, a crystal-clear image flared to life. Colding sent Jean walk up on his right, Tim on his left, all 3 of them looking over Ruhmkorff's scattered comb-over at the image. Ruhmkorff reached out, fingertips touching the screen. "Beautiful, isn't it?" "It's big," Tim said quietly. "It shouldn't be that big. It can't be." A placental sac filled the screen, translucent pinkish-white lined with thin red and blue veins. Inside the sac, the fetal ancestor in profile. Its head looked twice as large as the rest of the body. Tiny paws folded up under a long snout, which was dominated by the huge, bluish, closed eye. Colding could even see a tiny, fluttering thing, the ancestor's beating heart. "Fetuses average 20 pounds, Jean said. "They grow 20 pounds in 6 days. Ruhmkorff's fingertips traced the closed eye. He turned and stared at Colding with wild eyes, his anger gone. "You see, we have done the impossible." Colding couldn't find words. Until now, this had been something on paper, a process he administered just as someone might administer an assembly line or a manufacturing plant. Even the gold-tinted image from the 3D ultrasound had seemed somehow Hollywood. The live image from the fiber optic camera, however, finally brought it all home in full, wet color. This was a living creature, a man-made organism that had germinated somewhere in Jean and Ruhmkorff's genius, then clawed its way into existence. Colding tore his eyes away from the image to look at the little man who made it all happen. "That's pretty friggin' impressive, Doc." Ruhmkorff turned, smiled, and started to reply, but a strangled scream from Jean cut him off. Terror wrinkled her face into a disquieting caricature, locked her attention on the workstation screen. As one, Colding and Ruhmkorff looked back to the monitor. The fetal ancestor, eyes open, stared right back at them. Ruhmkorff jerked his fingers away from the screen and almost fell backward into Colding. An inexplicable wave of fear tingled up Colding's spine before he remembered it was only a computer monitor, and this was a picture of a small fetus, not some 6-foot-long creature looking at him with a malevolent gaze. Jeanne's hands flew to her head and grabbed huge fistfuls of dark black hair. "It is coming for us." "Jeanne, calm down," Colding snapped. "Klaus, is that supposed to happen?" "No," Tim said. "Hell no, that's not supposed to happen." Ruhmkorff's skin looked even paler than normal, the hue of the Walking Dead. "I must say it is a bit unusual, but it's nothing to worry about." "What?" Tim said. "A bit unusual? Dude, you are full of shit. Just look at the goddamn thing." "Mr. Feely, I am not going to..." Once again, Ruhmkorff found himself interrupted. This time, by blurry motion on the monitor that drew everyone's attention. The fetal ancestor turned its wedge-shaped head. Now 2 black eyes stared out from the screen, right through the translucent placental sac. Colding knew the fetus was actually looking at the fiber optic camera inside the womb, but the tiny eyes seemed to be looking right at him. "Odd," Ruhmkorff said. "Most animals don't open their eyes until after birth." The fetus opened its mouth and lurched forward, hitting the inside of the placental tissue and stretching it outward like a wet pink balloon. Oops. They all flinched. Jeanne screamed louder. The tiny head reared back. The sac stretched and torn whitish membrane sagged. Another violent thrust. The oversized head ripped through the sac in a cloud of swirling fluid. A gaping maw, pointy teeth. Jaws snapped shut and the image blinked into static. They heard a splashing from inside the stall. Colding looked back to see fluid spurting out of the cow's vagina, a 3-second downpour cascading off the floor. The cow's water had broke. Jeanne shouted something in Chinese, her voice an uneven tremor that rang with easily understood fear. She tangled both hands in her hair and yanked. Clenched fingers came away thick with long black strands. Colding grabbed her shoulders, turning her toward him. "Jeanne, stop it!" She stared at him, eyes wide with primal fear. She seemed terrified of him, as if she thought he was someone else, or something else. She pulled another double handful of hair from her head, then shoved Colding hard in his chest. The move caught him by surprise. He tried to regain his balance, but his foot caught on Ruhmkorff's stool, knocking it over and sending both men to the rubberized deck. Jeanne ran, disappearing down the open rear ramp, heavy feet pounding out a reverberating rhythm. Colding was up first. Ruhmkorff was up first, surprisingly nimble. He helped Colding to his feet. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Doc. Do not try and tell me what I just saw was normal." "It was probably just a reflexive action." "Oh, screw you," Tim said. "Try studying your biology 101, Dr. Ruhmkorff." Colding left them both behind, sprinting past docile cows sitting quietly in their plexiglass stalls. He ran down the rear exit ramp. "Jeanne, wait!" She kept moving, kept hitting for the hangar door, fat shaking in time with her panicked waddle. Colding caught her just before she grabbed the door handle. She turned and tried to push him again, but he caught her wrists. She struggled for a moment, but he held her tightly. Her wide eyes stared at him without recognition. "Take it easy," Colding said. "Jeanne, just take it easy." She blinked rapidly. Then clarity seemed to return to her vision. She fell forward into his arms. The sudden move in her weight knocked him back a step, but he held her up. She wrapped her arms around him, head buried in his chest, her body shivering.